Shields up, Ironbreakers. We're Rakan here coming at you with another video. Welcome back to Monster Hunter World Iceborne. And as you guys are no doubt aware, we've recently had the release of Iceborne on the PC, finally bringing all of the PC Ironbreakers into the fold of the new Monster Hunter expansion. And, you know, I've been streaming that. I streamed like 3 hours before the game came out to show you guys what Iceborne looks like at 1440p, and I think it looks friggin' amazing on PC. And then I did the launch live stream where, you know, I showed you a little bit more of the game. And since then, I've been live streaming it over on Twitch, which if you guys are not following me on Twitch, make sure to follow me on there because I do live stream on there quite a bit. But I actually found myself playing Iceborne a lot more than I played World when that came out on the PC. Now, if you guys remember, back when World came out for the PC, I played it a little bit. I showed you guys what it looked like. I gave you guys a couple of tips to optimize your visuals on lower end systems and all of that stuff, and then I kind of moved my content back to the PS4. This time around, I actually found myself engaging with the progression of the game all over again, and I'm currently just shortly after Velkhana. I'm currently farming Velkhana because I want to build a couple of her parts. And today I'd like to talk to you guys about why I found myself more engaged on Iceborne PC this time around than last time. And it involves Safi's weapons, which if you guys have been following my live streams, you know that I'm very much of two minds when it comes to Safi's weapons, and that is going to be a topic that we will talk about here. But before that, we're going to start at the very beginning. So when I started playing Iceborne on the PS4, you guys know that I pretty much mained the Gunlance. I still consider myself a Gunlance main, and even though I loved playing the Gunlance, I think a lot of the changes they made for the Gunlance are friggin' amazing. I think the Wormstake Blast is a lot of fun, even if a little bit frustrating in some situations, but I find it overall to be a very fun experience. The Iceborne Gunlance, which was really good. A lot better than what it was in World, which I think in World's Gunlance was really not all there. Now that I kind of look back into it and I compare it to, like, you know, Gunlance, for instance, in Gen U, which I know not everybody's going to agree with that, but, you know, Valor Gunlance in Gen U was a lot of fun. But anyway, I don't want to extend myself too much talking about Gunlance in this video, but the point that I'm trying to make is that, in my opinion, my biggest disappointment when it came to Gunlance and Iceborne was hands down the weapon tree. The weapon tree for the Gunlance, I found that like 80% of that weapon tree, you could just grab it, throw it in the trash, and it might not even be there. Taking a lot of the Gunlances all the way up to max level is completely useless, and you're going to end up with a subpar weapon. Now, I'm not saying that every weapon in the tree needs to be viable. That's not what I'm going for, but I'm saying if you go to pretty much any other tree of any other weapon, there's going to be a lot more options there as to which weapons you can play and which weapons you can craft that provide you with different play styles and whatnot. Whereas in the Gunlance, I really felt that that particular choice was much more limited, which, you know, that was one of the reasons where I was like, well, I guess I'm playing Valazak's Gunlance, and that's pretty much it. That's what I ended up playing. And every now and then I'd pull out, you know, a normal shelling Gunlance, and I would pull out like a wide shelling Gunlance when eventually Rajan came out. Because before that, there wasn't even like a good enough wide shelling Gunlance to justify the existence of the playstyle to begin with. Again, this is an opinion. Some people will agree, some people will disagree. It is what it is. But that's kind of like how I felt. And that was a little bit disappointing for me. So that was like point number one. And this time around on the PC, I decided, no, I'm going to play SNS. And SNS, I've been just like building all of these different sword and shields that you can have with the different elements. And even within each element, there's multiple viable choices that you can have, depending on whether you want to focus a little bit more on raw, depending on whether you focus a little bit more on element, depending on which sharpness you want, what things. There's just way more diversity in choice. And that is one of the things that definitely has me more engaged. But the main thing is the fact that currently on the PC version, the weapon tree is still relevant. And this was one of my biggest things about the Safi weapon that I've talked about at length, which is, look, when it comes to Safi weapon, I love the customizability that it brings. I think it's amazing. As someone who loves doing builds, I love what Safi brought into the game with all of that variety and all of the things that you can create, and just like, you know, the exponential growth in terms of builds and playstyles, to the point where I was able to actually make an elemental gun lance build, which before was you pretty much couldn't do because there was no decent element gun lance with wide shelling 6. Not to mention the only white shelling 6 gun lance had so many friggin' drawbacks that I was just like, oh, what the hell is going on? But yeah, so Safi brought a lot of diversity to the table, a lot of new play styles, a lot of customizability, and it's amazing, right? The problem is all of the other weapons in the game pretty much are obsolete. And I know that you can bring up a couple of niche cases here and there, like the Beatotus Charge Blade. Oh, if you're playing Elemental, the Beatotus Charge Blade can still do a little bit more damage. And I was like, yeah, who cares? Like, is it going to be significant enough that, you know, I don't think it matters enough. I just think that the convenience of using a Safi weapon and really customizing it, tailoring it to your needs, and being able to even put like a skill on there to, you know, to get different skills into your sets and whatnot, that is a much better value proposition than just like, oh, but this one does a little bit more. So basically, Safi kind of made the weapon tree obsolete. And when Safi went away on the 5th of January, I was like, well, I mean, I kind of got all of the weapons that I really wanted out of Safi, and I've augmented them the way that I wanted, and I've awakened them the way that I've wanted. And there really isn't anything else for me to grind in the game currently, because I don't feel like making new weapons, because basically there's that thing looming in the horizon where it's like, well, when Safi comes around, I can just make better versions than the ones that are available in the tree right now. And I know that some people will say, oh, but that, you know, you don't have to be min-maxer to that level and yada yada. And you're right, you don't. I'm not a speedrunner. I don't care that much about the meta of it, which, you know, it's going to be confusing to some people. Well, you don't care about the meta. Well, why don't you use the weapons in the weapon tree? Because even though I don't care about the meta, I still care about dealing damage. So I don't care about min-maxing it to the nth degree of like, this run has to go exactly like this, and if something goes wrong, then I'll reset the run, which is like speedrunner mentality, which I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it's just not for me. It's just not a playstyle that I'm personally interested in. So I like the comfiness, but at the same time, I like to bring the pain. I like to bring the damage. And if you really want to bring the damage, there's just nothing in the weapons that I personally play that is going to top Safi. Safi is just the end-all, be-all, and being able to put certain skills into Safi is very much a no-brainer, both from a gun lance standpoint as well as a sword and shield standpoint. At least for me, for my playstyles, to get like TO on the sword and shields, and then being able to still bring other set bonuses into it, which basically creates this environment in the game where, like, when Safi is not around, I just kind of like, I don't want to go work on other weapons because I'm not going to be able to make a set like I want to, right? And I kind of feel that is a bit of a problem because, again, like I said, it's an amazing net positive of all the things that you can do with Safi. But at the same time, it brings a lot of things to the game, which then when Safi's not around, I kind of feel like there's just like an emptiness there, and I just don't feel like I want to engage in creating new weapons. Maybe that's a me problem, whatever, but basically on the PC side of things, everything is fresh, right? Everything is still kind of like new. There's no Safi. The weapon tree is still very relevant, and I'm playing Sword and Shield, and I'm basically trying to relearn Sword and Shield from scratch, which I'm learning that I had a lot of bad habits in the ways that I was playing Sword and Shield, and I'm kind of like optimizing my combos a little bit more. And I would go as far as saying Sword and Shield is a lot more complex than people give it credit for. And I say this as someone that has played Sword and Shield to some capacity. I've killed a lot of stuff using only Sword and Shield, and a lot of people are sleeping on the Sword and Shield. Like, you have no idea the potential of this weapon just in terms of sheer control and the amount of things that you can do with it. And it's just been a very interesting ride, and I'm just kind of like keeping going with that ride. And there's also the fact that I kind of just don't feel like engaging with any other game. Like, Monster Hunter World Iceborne has kind of spoiled me, and no other game really gives me the same amount of satisfaction than this one. And, you know, I've even heard that there was somebody in my comments saying they started a fresh new character because of everybody kind of starting new on PC. They just started a new character on PS4 to experience the progression all over again. And I don't know, man, there's something about that. It is really cool. It is really cool to just go through it all over again and actually see when the weapon trees are still relevant and, you know, when you're still kind of like trying out something new. I don't know, I guess I'm just, I just wanted to put this out there that I hope they kind of figure out a way to make the weapon tree relevant again, to make it so that it's not everything just about Safi, even though that is fun. But it shouldn't just be the end-all be-all. We're in a situation where, once again, there is one monster in the game that has all of the best weapons. And that is like the one monster that people kind of want to go do. And I think that kind of takes the it takes the glory away from a lot of the other monsters in the game that you know, are also cool, and you should also be fighting those. I don't know, it's a weird situation, but you know, I still friggin' love Iceborne above and beyond anything else, and I'm still gonna be streaming it, still gonna be playing it. So yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys on live stream. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit it up with a like button. If you did not enjoy this video, hit it up with a dislike button, and let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section down below. Do remember, this is not, I'm not doing this video as like, oh, I'm complaining about this thing. No, I'm just throwing my thoughts out there into the ethos, and I'm curious to know what you guys think about all this, because I know that there will be some people out there be like, oh, you just spoiled yourself by getting all of the best weapons and all of these things and are kind of bored. I don't think that's it. I think there's a little bit more to it than that. But yeah, as always, stay strong and may your shields never break.